my things, so much so that I self-referred myself through the NHS to something called Talking Space, and did some counselling through Silk Cloud and some CBT based therapy, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, and you can kind of do that online. But I've also saw a counsellor in person. I've also spoken to Mind again, just to chat through the things, and on a lot of occasions, again when I'm overwhelmed by everything, really been beside myself and not knowing what to do, I phoned the Samaritans and they were amazing. Not that I don't have a really good support network, because I have an amazing support network, but sometimes I feel like sort of that takes over everything, that your family, friends and loved ones, they get put through a lot as well, like seeing the impact that it has on you. And as much as it's like good to talk about stuff, I don't always want to put that on my husband or my family, and sometimes it's quite nice just to have someone that just talk to the Samaritans. They're just very kind of like reassuring, and it's like or something, but they just listen, and sometimes that's what you need. So I felt for me a couple of times when I didn't really know and quite at rock bottom, I've actually found that really helpful. And yeah, I think you just need to take the stigma out of it and realise actually there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever, and it's nothing but helpful. So yeah, talking in general, like I used to be quite closed off person and not really talk about feelings and emotions, but I realised quite early on that the only way that I would be able to deal with this and come to terms with it and get myself through it was if I was open and honest and talked about everything. I think again partly for my sanity, because it's so, again, if you're not going through it, you don't understand. It's so bizarre and so weird with all the symptoms that if you're not going through it yourself, then you almost can't believe it's real. It's so disbelieving as well. So yeah, just talk to people, just reach out, find someone that you can connect with. Saying that, there's a really good Facebook group, I have to read it, but I have to get what it's called. It's Yoga and Meditation for Gentle COVID Recovery with Susie Box. So there's a Facebook group. So I was in a couple of Facebook groups, but actually I found some of them really, I suppose, detrimental, triggering and negative, focusing on scary stuff, symptoms, recovering. So I quickly came out of those because that's where I'm at. So the one with Susie Bolt is really encouraging, really positive, really helpful, gives you lots of recovery stories, there's lots of advice, there's lots of helpful hints and tips in it. So for me, that's been really good. And instead of me going on into the rabbit hole of Googling all sorts of things, you can actually just type a couple of things into the Susie Bolt Facebook group, and there's lots of people in it that have experienced the same or similar to you, so you realise that actually you're not alone. It is normal, although it's abnormal at the same time. Be kind to myself. Like, I think I've always been a really harsh critic of myself and always expected a lot of myself and had high expectations, maybe unrealistic ones. So yeah, I've been a lot kinder to myself and realised I don't need to do a million things, and I can leave stuff, and if the house is slightly dirty, it doesn't really matter. If I've got 20 things to do and I've only done one of them, it doesn't really matter. Most stuff can wait, it's not going to cause a problem. But I think for me, maybe being an overachiever and a perfectionist in my previous pre-COVID life has kind of impacted that. But again, this is something that I want to take forward with me, that it's okay for me to sit down in the middle of the day and watch TV, or it's okay for me to read a book, or I can go outside for 20 minutes in the sunshine, and actually it's alright to sit down and eat lunch. Because previously I would be lunch to go because I got become too busy. Minimising stress and overstimulation. So in the early days, because your body's in fight or flight mode, it's really important to kind of try and calm everything down and minimise all the stress and anxiety and just kind of getting uptight, and especially if you've got kids and stuff and they wind you up and you're like trying to get
them ready for school and get them out of the house, although again in the early days we couldn't do that. Couldn't even face spending 2 seconds with my children because it was too much for my brain to comprehend. But yeah, I would find that it would make my internal shakes and tremors worse if I was getting agitated about stuff or anything like that. So I've really done a lot to try and bring all that side of things down. Patience, oh my word. So I'm a real one for being patient, but so far 9 months in, patience on occasions, wearing thin on others, patience of a saint. I mean, again, I've carried that over to my kids actually, and I think I'm much more patient with them now, and understanding, and yeah, again, I want to carry that on and realise actually I can take a breath and it's not so bad. Vagus nerve, so I touched on this previously in different videos. The vagus nerve runs through your body. It's a big nerve down into your gut, and your vagus nerve gets out of whack and out of kilter. So there is vagus nerve stimulation, so you can just run your fingers down to your neck towards your sternum, kind of like 10 times, and that helps. You can like squeeze your earlobes as well. There's also a little exercise, you can do this laying on your back, where you put your hands behind your head, and then you literally keep your head facing forwards with your eyes look up in one direction. And then you stay at that point until you feel that you're going to do a yawn. So you look up your eyes, nothing else moves, but it should initiate a yawn. And then, oh my goodness, and then you do the same in the other direction. That's stimulating and resetting the vagus nerve. So you can go onto YouTube and type in vagus nerve resets and stuff, and it comes up with some other things with regards to the nervous system. So the nervous system, sympathetic, parasympathetic, you've got your fight or flight side, which is the adrenaline side of things, and then you've got your rest and digest. These two should be in kilter, in balance, a bit like scales, and then what happens is with long COVID is your fight or flight gets overactivated and your rest and digest doesn't work, so you'll get out of kilter. So what you're trying to do with all these different exercises and things with vagus nerve and yoga nidra, with decreasing stress and stuff, is to try and bring them back in line, so your rest and digest starts working properly again, and your fight and flight gets out of being overactive and overstimulated, and brings them back in line. Grounding, so touch a tree, touch some leaves, smell some plants, walk barefoot, run in the rain, just appreciate nature. Sometimes I go and lay in my garden on the grass and just look up at the sky, listen to the birds and stuff, or the other day when it was raining, run around outside in the rain, and it kind of brings you, I suppose, some peace, some inner calm. Yeah, I'm getting very much more in touch with that kind of thing. The long COVID clinic, so I'm based in Oxford, and we've got a really good long COVID clinic here. The long COVID clinic in Oxford have actually written a book on long COVID, which is available on Amazon. It's got some really good information in there with understanding, hints, tips, feedbacks. Now there is various different long COVID clinics all over the country. You can get referred by your doctor, but there is some long waits for some of them. I'm very fortunate that one of my close friends actually works in the long COVID clinic in Oxford, so she's been so lovely to me when I've been at low points. She's been really supportive, really helpful, shared some of her knowledge with me, made me feel like I'm not alone, so yeah, it's been really, really nice. Antihistamines, so when we were talking about symptoms, touched on MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome, and histamine intolerance and stuff. Again, it seems to be a widely used remedy. It's a cure, it's not a cure, in COVID, that people are using antihistamines. So you've got two different types of antihistamines. You've got H1 and H2 blockers. They are for like one's for allergies and one's for kind of like stomach acid and reflux, and it's to reduce inflammation that you may feel around the body and try and reset stuff. So some doctors, some GPs are really up on this, others not so much, because as we are aware, long COVID is still a relatively new again, I'm not a doctor, I don't have any medical background, so yeah, tread carefully. I am also on medication for anxiety, because my health anxiety in the first incident was off the scale, ridiculous, but I recognised it straight away and I took the steps to try and sort it out, like speak to my GP, get some counselling, work out methods to deal with it. So I'm currently on anxiety medication, having never really even taken paracetamol before. It's all very peculiar, but I'm like, do you know what, if you hurt your knee, you'd put a plaster on it, wouldn't you? So actually there's no shame in that kind of thing, and it's not forever, it's just as part of the illness, and as I recover I will come off them. Pacing. Now pacing is a really key for a lot of people, particularly with the chronic fatigue side of things. There's lots of different methods. People talk about, like, to give the analogy, the spoons method. So you have to work out how many spoons you have in a day. So you might have 20 spoons available in your day, and say having a shower uses up 2 of your spoons, getting dressed uses up 1 of your spoons, going downstairs uses up another spoon, and then you can work out how to kind of like structure your day without overdoing it. And you should always kind of do way less than you feel like you're capable of. I think we're programmed to, when we feel good, just want to do so much stuff, but you kind of need to rein it in, and that's something that I really struggled with. I think having been always on the go, forcing myself to sit down and not do anything, it's difficult. I mean, have lots of Netflix series and stuff to watch, so I mean, I'm mastering it to some extent. Gut health. So lots to do with the gut. Lots of people have had gastro issues. They're my current ones. Bacteria in the stomach. There's research being done that actually the virus likes to kind of like sit in the stomach for months and months and months. And you might also find that you suddenly become allergic to stuff that you weren't before, not necessarily just foods, like intolerances to food, but you might have allergies that you didn't have previously. So lots of people finding good results with no histamine diets, just eating healthy, cutting out sugar, caffeine, dairy, a bit dark and boring and cliche, not forever, cut everything out, and then gradually introduce things back in one, and see if you have a reaction to something, and you should kind of like be able to work out from there if you have any issues with any food. You can always buy a food diary and symptom log from Amazon to keep track of stuff and see if there's any trends. What else? I've done most of the stuff. Apple cider vinegar. I mean, there's theories, traditional medicine and stuff, that apple cider vinegar helps with gut health. So I take a little teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in some warm water every day. No idea if it does anything or not, but I mean, if you're in the long COVID boat and you're a long hauler, and you've been going through it a lot, then you literally will try anything to see if it helps. And I think the biggest thing for me was to really try and stop Googling, or only allow myself a certain window of time that I was allowed to research stuff, because otherwise I would spend literally hours and hours and hours and self-diagnosing myself with I don't even know what, all sorts of terrible stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. That's excuse me, I've talked for ages, haven't I? Yeah, these are some of the things that I have done and been implementing. I mean, as you can see with most of my videos, I'm out on a walk. I do try most days to come out for a walk when I've been in relapses or in the early days, if it's possible. Again, in the early days it might have just been a walk for a couple of minutes and gradually kind of like building up from there. But yeah, I find it really important even when I don't necessarily want to, and I feel like a bit ashamed to try and come up. You have to take ownership of your own symptoms and your own body though, and realise when you can do stuff and when you can't do stuff, because there's sometimes, even if you want to do things, then you just shouldn't, because it's going to be detrimental to you. But